Hi, 8th grade. So today we are going to be focusing on the last body paragraph of your essay, which is how are Bruno's and Shmuel's point of views different and how do those differences create tension? You should have already written paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 about each point of view. So looking at our prompt, we're writing an essay that analyzes how the differences in point of view create tension in the story. It's really important that we understand what tension is. Tension is a conflict or the building up of emotions for a problem. What are some ways that we can build tension? I want you to make a list in your underneath. Go ahead and make a list. Actually, we'll make a list in a second. So we're going to take a look at this section of text to identify Bruno's point of view, Shmuel's point of view, how they're different, how they create tension. Shmuel looked as if he wasn't really listening. Instead, his eyes were focused on the slices of chicken and stuffing that Bruno was throwing casually into his mouth. After a moment, Bruno realized what he was looking at and immediately felt guilty. So right here, this is Shmuel is so focused on the slices of chicken and stuffing that Bruno's throwing in his mouth because he is starving. And Bruno doesn't even realize that he's so hungry, and that makes him feel guilty. So right away, I'm going to just start my list. Bruno's point of view is that he's guilty about not offering Shmuel chicken, but he also doesn't realize how important the chicken is to Shmuel. Whereas Shmuel, right now, is so focused on this chicken because he is starving. How does that create tension? Anytime a character feels guilt, feeling bad about what they're doing, that is going to create tension. Also because they don't understand each other's point of view. Bruno doesn't get why Shmuel is so invested in this chicken, and Shmuel is probably not even thinking about what Bruno's thinking about. "I'm sorry, Shmuel," he said quickly. "I should have given you some chicken too. Are you hungry?" "That's a question you never have to ask me," said Shmuel, who, although he had never met Gretel in his life, knew something about sarcasm too. "Wait there, I'll cut some off for you," said Bruno, opening the fridge and cutting another 3 healthy slices. "No, if he comes back," said Shmuel, shaking his head quickly and looking back and forth towards the door. "If who comes back? You don't mean Lieutenant Coulter." "I'm just supposed to be cleaning the glasses," he said, looking at the bowl of water in front of him in despair, and then looking back at the slices of chicken that Bruno held out to him. "He's not going to mind," said Bruno, who was confused by how anxious Shmuel seemed. "It's only food." So again, Bruno's point of view is that very casual, not caring so much about food or Lieutenant Coulter. He doesn't realize that Lieutenant Coulter is a pretty violent man and that Shmuel could be in serious consequences for this. So Shmuel's point of view is that he is afraid of the consequences of eating the chicken, and he knows that Lieutenant Coulter will punish him severely. So the difference is here is that Bruno doesn't understand what's going on in Shmuel's life. He doesn't get what's happening with the concentration camp and with the starvation, whereas Shmuel is so focused on just surviving and living. So what are some other ways that creates tension? Again, they don't understand each other's point of view. Bruno doesn't understand the Shmuel's life, and also Bruno is not understanding the consequences Shmuel will face if he eats this chicken. So again, it's Bruno being very casual about food and Lieutenant Coulter, and Shmuel being terrified and afraid for his life. So Shmuel is afraid for his life, and that is going to always create tension when someone is literally afraid about living. So what you're going to do now is find evidence that's the strongest evidence that shows Bruno's point of view and Shmuel's point of view and the differences between them. You're going to write your next body paragraph first answering how are these 2 points of view different, and then answering how this creates tension. Refer back to your paragraph 3 rubric to help you make that check off that you've done each part of this. Good luck and raise your hand if you have any questions.